Roman ingenuity built more than baths and aqueducts. Across the empire, engineers created the infrastructure for a way of life, a life of health and prosperity unknown elsewhere in the ancient world. The Romans relied on a vibrant trade all the way to India and China. And trade sparked innovation and technological transfer. Roman trade stretched from China to the British Isles, but whether by land or water, all routes led to Rome. Rome established Ostia as its main port in the 6th century BC. Just 20 miles west of Rome on the Tiber River, Ostia became Rome's first colony. In Ostia's many markets, everything changed hands, from food and everyday household goods to luxury items. Technology alone won't make you rich. For that you need organisation, and just what formidable organisers the Romans were, you can sense here. This square is known as the Piazza of the Corporations, so called because each of these niches belonged to a group of merchants who functioned exactly like a modern corporation or shipping line, specialising in particular routes and commodities from particular parts of the Roman world. In warehouses like these, goods were marked and stored. Perishable items were placed in dolia, like these, dug into the ground to keep them cool. In the modern world, we associate the idea of mass production with the name of Henry Ford, but the Romans had a similar idea a long, long time ago. This is a flour mill, one of a dozen or so that once ground flour together in this room. The way it worked was this. The whole wheat was poured in the top, and the mill turned around through a system of rods and levers that fitted into these holes. The ground flour would then pour out from down below. At Barbegal, near modern-day Arles in southern France, the Romans created one of the first prototypes of industrialization, a water-powered flour factory. Guided not over 1, but 16 water wheels in 2 parallel rows of 8, the water dropped from one wheel to the next. What made it even more efficient was, for once, a distinctly Roman invention, the overshot water wheel. It utilised water 8 times more efficiently than the traditional undershot water wheel. With this mill, the Romans could produce enough flour to feed the entire population of ancient Arles, a minimum of 12,000 people every day. Here in Ostia, large volume and lower costs meant more profits. And as the empire spread, more people enjoyed the Roman lifestyle. But the concept that increased food production propelled yet another industry. Clay drinking cups were common in ancient Rome, but the coarse clay soaked up tastes and retained odours. Absorbing oils and juices, it provided a breeding ground for bacteria. Glass, on the other hand, was odourless, tasteless and hygienic. So once glassblowing was discovered, around 50 BC in one of Rome's other colonies, modern-day Syria, the process spread across the empire in just 40 years, and a new industry was on the rise. In order to understand how the Romans met the demand, we asked a modern glassblowing company to demonstrate the Roman technique. Even today, glass is blown basically the same way the ancient Syrians did it. Put a blob of melted glass on the end of a long tube, blow air down the tube until a bubble is formed. Here is where the Romans introduced a simple but ingenious innovation. Rather than shape the bubble by hand, they used a mould. With a mould, a team of glassmakers could turn out large volume at high speed. "2,000 years later, the Romans still contribute to meeting the demands of the marketplace. But the Romans did more. They refined the material by inventing techniques to create some of the finest treasures of the ancient world, like this masterpiece. To this day, experts can't agree on how it was made. This is not a necessity, it's a luxury. The whole point of this object is this: if you've got it, you flaunt it.